Have you ever experienced the hindsight effect? It's a fascinating psychological phenomenon where, after an event has occurred, we convince ourselves that we could have predicted or even expected it. It's like looking back at the past through a lens of certainty, believing we knew what was coming all along. This intriguing concept is also known as the knew-it-all-along effect. So, ever felt like you knew it all along after an event unfolded? That's the hindsight effect for you. Now that we understand what the hindsight effect is, you might wonder, what causes this effect? Well, there are several contributing factors. One of the primary causes is our natural inclination to find patterns and make sense of the world. This mental wiring helps us to navigate and comprehend our surroundings, but it can also lead us to mistakenly believe that we predicted past events more accurately than we actually did. Another big player in the hindsight effect is our memory's tendency to be a bit selective. We often remember our correct predictions more vividly than our incorrect ones, creating an illusion of foresight in hindsight. Lastly, knowing the outcome of an event can bias our memory of what we initially thought would happen. This is known as outcome bias, where the result influences our recollection of the past. So, our minds are wired in such a way that we tend to believe we knew it all along, even when we didn't. The hindsight effect can lead to overconfidence and poor decision-making. But how can we overcome it? One of the major problems associated with the hindsight effect is overconfidence. When we look back at past events, we often convince ourselves that we knew it all along. This can lead to a false sense of certainty about our ability to predict future events. We start to believe in our infallibility, which can result in poor decision-making. Another issue is that the hindsight effect can skew our perception of events. We tend to oversimplify past events and underestimate the complexity of situations. This means we overlook the unpredictability of many events and the multitude of factors that could have influenced the outcome. So how can we overcome these problems? One effective strategy is to keep a decision journal. By documenting our predictions and the actual outcomes, we can have a more accurate record of our decision-making process. This can help us identify any patterns of overconfidence or bias. Another tip is to seek diverse perspectives. By engaging in discussions with people who have different viewpoints, we can challenge our own assumptions and avoid falling into the trap of the hindsight effect. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, consciously acknowledge the unpredictability of many events. Life is full of uncertainties, and it's okay not to have all the answers. Remember, the first step to overcoming the hindsight effect is acknowledging it. So the next time you catch yourself saying, "I knew it all along," take a moment to reflect.